So let's get started. This session is called the Sold Out Seminar with Howard Tinker. This is Howard. He's a stand-up gentleman, really lovely guy, and over the last little while, kind of getting to know him, I've been really touched with not just how passionate he is about serving his market and being useful, but how generous he is, full stop. So today, I'm really stoked that Howard is going to share behind the scenes in his business, his IP. And as you walk through it, I want you to just notice how well this maps to the training we just did. And I want you to see in practice, what I want you to be looking for is, firstly, what kind of a kind, generous, smart cat he is, but also how he leads his potential partners through the whole process and makes it easy and seamless and easy to trust. Cool. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Howard. I'm going to unmute you right now. Howard, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Hey, loud and clear. Thanks so much for doing this, mate. I'm really glad that you took the time and stoked to be able to kind of show people a little bit of the magic that you've been running for so many years now.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to it, Taki.
Well, let's get into it, hey? So let's do 60 seconds on your background. So who do you work with? How long have you been doing it? How does it work? Talk to me about give us a little bit of your background.
Okay, so going back before I came and lived in Australia, I was in England and I was a psychotherapist. So my background's in the kind of psychology realm. I got to Australia, couldn't work in my own industry. They wanted me to go back to university. So I ended up setting up a mail order company.
Okay.
And I sold psychology type products via mail order, and that's where I learned to take the psychology that I was working face to face with people into print. So I became a copywriter. I learned how to make people buy things, and from there I ended up almost by accident becoming a coach for the people that were buying my products. One of the products was a business from home product, and then people loved it but wanted to know how to do it. So I taught them that actually this is going back about, I don't know, 12, 15 years, one-to-many in those days over the telephone. So I was doing that sort of stuff, and then, crazily, I forgot back to one-to-one, which we all know is not the right way to go. While I was doing that, somebody asked me, why don't you niche? And I ended up niching with restaurant owners, and now we have 70 restaurants across Australia that we work with. We handle their marketing for them. We teach them why they need to do marketing and why we use the strategies we do. We handle about 600,000 people's data, so that's residents of Australia and New Zealand, on behalf of the restaurants. So we market out to that list on behalf of the restaurants. So one of the things I teach the restaurant owners is how to do JVs, so they can build that list, and obviously we can market out on their behalf to more and more people for them.
JVs are obviously a massive way for a restaurant to go its reach. But if we think about your coaching and your done for you business, JVs is the kind of the number one way that you grow your business as well. So let's just do a quick why JVs, rather than some other way to generate leads.
Okay. Well, when I got into business right at the beginning, so I've been in psychotherapy, and now I'm running this business, and I took out adverts in magazines, and they would cost me at that time about $500. I'd maybe get 200 leads. We'd convert them into 25 clients, and then I had to go and put another advert out, and I got to go to the Mind Body Spirit Festival. And for some reason, I ran a competition, and I got about 500 people into my database, and I sent out a sales letter to them, and I made just as many sales that had been doing the hard way. And I thought, well, how do I get like 500 people in one go? And what I'd done was I'd walked around the expo, and this is a great tip, by the way, if you want to grow lists. I walked around the expo and I looked at who else was collecting databases, who were doing quizzes, who were doing competition entries. And then we're going back to the old now. So then I went to magazines because we didn't have the internet, and I looked and found those people in magazines and saw that they were just like me. They were in two-step lead generation to sales. So I'd found maybe 10 people who obviously got it about marketing. You really are looking for people that get it. And so they were collecting databases. They had adverts that were lead gen adverts in the right magazines. And so I then reached out and said, hey, can we do something together? Can we grow a database? And within quite a short space of time, I had 20,000 people on my list by doing JVs, and never cost me a penny because I was doing it over the phone, saying to somebody, hey, do you want to do this? And literally following the steps that you've just laid bare in the previous webinar.
That's awesome. So 20,000 people on the list is fantastic. Let's talk about the way you sell your services right now is predominantly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, predominantly you do some seminars, right? And the seminar is a great introduction to your stuff. And so heaps of people would say, filling seminars I get the benefit, but it's hard work to fill the seminars. But you found that are a really great way to get that done. Can you just do a quick, here are the kind of results I get from JVs? Yeah,
sure. So we don't really do much other than JVs. Obviously, I've got a list. I have about 5,000 people on my email list, and I'll email out to them to say, hey, we're doing another seminar. But beyond that, I don't do any Facebook. I don't do any lead generation. So that's only going out to my list. So then what I do is I look around for people in the industry that are non-competing with me, and some of them are slightly competing with me, but we don't overlap that much. And then I make a list of them. I give some thought to what is it that they're trying to achieve, and can I help them out with what I can do, which is these are the steps that Taki's just taken us all through, by the way.
Yeah, exactly right.
Once I've worked that out, I will reach out to them. I'll give them a phone call, and I'll say, hey, I've got an idea how I can help you to grow your business. Can we have a coffee, or can we make time to have a phone call and talk about it? Now, not many people get a true phone call like that where I want to help you grow your business. And so instead of a coffee, they'll normally say, oh, tell me what it is straight away. So you've got through the gatekeeper, the door's open, you sat there, and now you're talking about what it is that you've realized through your thought process that could be useful for them, to them.
And the fact that a total stranger has spent any time thinking about you and your well-being before they even know you is kind of pretty rare, I would suggest.
Yeah, and the fact that you've done a bit of you've looked at them online and you realize what they're doing. Another great thing is if you happen to have a client already that uses their services, and you ring and pay them a compliment. Hey, I was just talking to Joe Smith, who's one of my clients, and he said he works with you and blah 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 about their business, and I just thought we really should talk because you're obviously doing great things, and we like to work with people that are doing great things, and I think I've got an idea for you about how you can grow your business more, and maybe even get some of my clients that I've got if I introduce you to my clients. And that hook is just such a good hook that people jump on it. So that's the kind of opening gambit. The next thing is that I take them through the process of what we do to fill our seminars. So I'll take you through that in depth in a minute, and explain that to them, and then let them decide whether or not they are interested in it. Sometimes they'll ask for more up front, and that's fine. I'm absolutely generous in working with people to help them before they help me. And I've got an example of that coming up in a minute as well. Sometimes they'll say, oh, yeah, we'd like to do that for you, but what can you do for us? Or we've got this thing we're struggling with. Have you got any ideas for us? And so I'll come up with ideas. I'm quite entrepreneurial, so I can normally think on my feet about how I can help people with a problem they're struggling with.
I love that. I call that meeting the serve and strategize meeting, and you've just kind of shown both, right? It's all about how can I help you, how can I serve you. You've really done the 3 steps. You've connected with your compliment about you doing great stuff, or my client says awesome things about you. You've served a ton in terms of how can I help, and kind of creating strategies and ideas and breakthroughs for them. And then you're strategizing how could we work together. We love. This is good. And so how many seminars have you?
In a year, we'd probably have at least 1,000.
Okay, and so you've just done a couple. What sort of numbers
Yeah.
register and attend to each one?
We had, I'm just thinking, we had about 200 register for the Sydney one. The room only held 135, so we filled that in the morning, and then we went out to everybody again and said, the morning's full, and as soon as you say to somebody you can't come anymore, they all want to come, and they're all kind of nosy then about, oh, what are my competitors going to be learning? So I went out and said, you can't come anymore, it's full, but what we're going to do is run an overflow session in the afternoon, which won't be the big production, but it will be more intimate if you want a more intimate session, and then that filled. So we ended up with about 200 booked in, and I think on the day we had about 150 turn up.
That's fantastic. Great. So that, I asked you that just to kind of give people a sense of, the kind of the effectiveness of this, I guess. Let's talk a little bit about JVs. Do you have any? Let's do this nice and quick, and then jump into the how.
Yeah.
Lots of people try JVs and struggle either to find the right people to get people to say yes, or to get people to actually follow through. What are some of the mistakes that you see people making?
I think we come from a few things, and it's psychology. I think the first thing is that you go into it with a begging bowl in your hand. So you come from a position of I'm needy, and nobody wants to do business with needy people. And so again, Taki talked about kings talking to kings. You really have to believe in your own bullshit, or believe in your own profile, or whatever.
Profile, shall we? I think that's a better word.
Excuse me.
That's all right.
And so, yeah, you really do have to believe that you are delivering a good product, you're going to help them, and so you go with that psychology in your mind of that you are the source and that you're going to be useful and helpful to them. The other thing I think people give up when they get told no. So I will approach maybe 20 people and end up with 4 that I've got relationships with,
Right.
and I'll go back to that well of those 4 3 or 4 times a year to help me seminars, but I'm always looking for others, and I'm always looking for people outside of the box as well. So it's not just the obvious. I'll go outside the box and talk to people like, Vittoria Coffee Company, for instance, who I don't know how the hell I would help them, but I know they've got a lot of my clients. So yeah, and I'd work out a way that I could help them. So I'm willing to be told no a lot, because the yeses that come eventually are very, very good. So I think that's the second mistake. People get told no 5 times in a row and think, well, this don't work. And it's not that. It's just anything worth having is you've got to work at it. Otherwise, everybody would have it. Yeah. So I think those are the problems. The other thing is who you want to do business with. And again, Taki talked about this earlier. You don't want to be doing business with somebody who's got a bad reputation, a shark, because their reputation runs off on you. You also don't want to be doing business with somebody who can't get their act together to get things done. They might be great in the industry from everybody thinks they're great, but behind the scenes they're just chaotic, because you need to go through a process that works, and it's very timed, and it's time dependent. Otherwise, nobody will turn up. So they've got to be dependable in that way. And also, you want to work with people who their clients like them. So I've done JVs with people, and they've got massive lists, and I think, oh, this is going to be fantastic. And we send out the same materials we send to other lists, and we get nobody enrolled. And it's because that person has got no value in the mind of the market. They might have a big list, but they've no engagement with the list. So your engagement, because their list doesn't trust their recommendation of you.
Love that. That's good. So 5 big mistakes. Number 1, neediness, coming across as begging. You want to be king's talk to kings. Number 2, understanding that not everybody's looking for this, not everybody's a fit, and no doesn't mean never. And one person saying no doesn't mean everybody says no. Number 3 is kind of really about who you're working with. The next 3 are are you working with sharks who are just not a good values match for you? Are they dependable or not? And if they're not dependable and follow through, then you need to kind of either realign them or move on. And then people who might have a list but no relationship.
Correct.
Okay. That's good. Hey, should we jump in and go deep into the how? I'd love to kind of
Yeah,
find out a little bit more about how the process works. So I'm going to jump.
sure.
You sent me some photos this morning, which I think are quite interesting. So shall we go to those?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So I've got this one here. Every kid gets to be student of the week. What is this?
So I reached out to a possible JV partner. Now this is a software company. So again, this is an outside of the box relationship. Because when you think restaurants, you don't necessarily think software companies. You might think knives and forks and food suppliers and so on. But I know that all restaurants need to have POS systems, point of sale systems. And so I reached out to the software company that provides these point of sales machines with their software. And I said, let's do a JV, use the usual thing. And they said, actually, we really would like some information that we can send out to our clients. Would you write some tips for us? So my JV took a back seat, and I said, yeah, what do you want? And they said, we'd like 1 tip a week. And so I wrote out on a Word document 52 tips of how to grow your business for a restaurateur. And then I thought, I can do better than that. So I actually gave it to a VA, and I said, I want you to go get these tips turned into graphics that can go out on Facebook. So I gave her the design size, and they came back with 52 beautiful graphics. You can only see a little bit of this on the screen, actually. It looks really, really good.
It does.
And
yeah,
so,
I cut it off top and bottom to make it fit my 16:9 widescreen look, but it's a beautiful kind of Facebook card. So let me just get this right. You've gone, I'd like some tips. You go away and write 52 tips, and then you get them graphically designed into nice, kind of shareable graphics.
Yeah, and then I went back to the client and said, here, I've done these for you. And I sent them all 52, and they were like, wow, that's fantastic. And then I said, you know what else I'll do? Because some of them don't mean much, like if you saw every kid gets to be student of the week, what the hell does that mean for a restaurateur? So I said, what I'll do is I'll do a 3-minute video explaining each tip, and all you've got to do underneath the tip that you put out through your Facebook is put a link. They'll come to my video, and I'll explain exactly why this is important for restaurateurs. And so that tip now links back to my blog, which drives traffic back to me as well.
Which I think, is that our next image?
Yes, yes. So this is a different tip, actually.
Your master menu is a sales tool, use it. So I've actually got the top and bottom of this because it was kind of nice and wide, but this is obviously one of the Facebook cards that people share. Yeah. And then it's got a little description, and then underneath it looks like it's got a video of you explaining the piece.
That's right. That's it. Exactly. So
let me get this right. This JV partner, and probably others, once a week are promoting you. And feeling good about it.
Yes, because they're getting my IP for free, and then I just get a link back to my blog so that I can give even more value to their clients by explaining what the tip means. So I did all that up front, and I know it serves me anyway, but I did all of that for them when they just asked, can we just have 52 tips? And they probably thought they'd get, tweets, 52 tweets, and I did the visuals. I paid for all of that. And then when I said to them, excuse me, then can we talk about my JV now? Excuse me. They said, yeah, let's do it. And I then talked about the fact that we've got a book that I would like to send out to their clients. So again, it's coming from a giving space rather than a taking space. So so there's the book, and this is one of my JV partners, my guest list, on an email marketing platform for the hospitality industry. So the letter goes out from my guest list with my book in it and some tickets to come to my event. So there's 2 tickets. So it looks like my guest list have sent this out to their list. In fact, we send the book, the tickets, the letter from our office. We stuff the envelopes, so we take all the work off them. They don't have to do anything except for share those. We're happy to sign legal forms to say we won't use the list beyond this. Some of them will send labels. Some want everything delivering to them for them to stuff it, but as soon as they realize how much time that takes, they quite quickly turn around and say, you know what, you do it. So we take all the work off them, and then we send out the book on their behalf. Now, what's in it for them is that they have, well, it looks like they have bought this client a book, they've paid for tickets to the event, and that they're actually thinking about this client. So how many times does an email platform think about their clients? When have you ever received a really nice gift in the mail from or whoever you use? You know, maybe you got the t-shirt right at the start, but since then they've just taken your money. So this
I happen to have a pretty good relationship with Entreport, and they did buy me a scooter, like a Vespa once, which was pretty extraordinary, but nobody else has ever sent me anything. So
all right, well, I'm not sending scooters out.
No, don't. Like, this is great. What I love about this pack is it oozes value. Like, it's just, hey, we love you, we've bought you this book, and we've paid for 2 tickets for you. So they're not free tickets, they're paid for tickets by, because my guest list in this case has purchased or arranged them for you, which is love.
And at a psychological level, it's saying we think about you even when you're not aware of it. We're thinking about helping you. And so at a psychological level, it's a real bonding process between that company and their clients. And so I explain that as a pattern, and then we just send them out. And so then there's a process that kicks off at that point. So there's like a flow chart that I've sent you a photograph of. So if you want, I'll walk you through that. So this is the whiteboard in my office. And I use this to explain to my team how things are going to work. So if we move from left to right, at the top, the first job I have to do is get on the phone and talk to those JVs and get those lists in from the JV partners. The next step moving across is we send out books to the JV list. So, my guest list will send us, 500 people on their list, and then we just package 500 books and we send them out.
Just a second. People are, well, dude, books are expensive. Like, you go to a bookshop, it's $30 for a book. How much does a book cost you?
It depends how many you buy. The last lot we bought was 5,000 copies, and they cost me $1.70 each. Right.
See, that's extraordinary. So love that. Thank you. So we send the books out with the pack and the tickets?
Yes.
And it looks like some of them book in themselves and some of them need a phone call?
No, we don't get their phone number. We only get their physical address, and that's that you say that up front when you're talking to the JV partner. Look, we don't want their email, we don't want their phone number. We're not going to bug your clients. We're just going to send them this book, and if they come, they come, and if they don't, they don't. So what we do in the letter is we give them our phone number and we give them a link to book directly online. So and even though the ticket says you can come, on the ticket and on the letter it says you have to RSVP. Yeah. And then what happens then is that they book online or they phone in, and then the next box across you see it says TY email, which is thank you email, and in that we send to them a video saying, hey, coming, as a little surprise, I'm sending you 52 tips to use in your restaurant, and then we sent them a PDF of the 52 tips that I showed you earlier with the little girl, the student of the week. So immediately we're building value with these people. So they've never heard of us possibly before, and immediately they get something in the mail that's of value because we want them to stick. So right now the biggest problem we would have otherwise is that 200 people book in and only 20 turn up. So what we have to do from this point forward is make sure that they come. Yep. So they get the thank you email, but we now have their phone number, and what we do is we phone out to every single person who books in and says, hey, just wanted to make sure you got the 52 tips booklet. We're really looking forward to seeing you. Is there anybody else you'd like to bring? Now the reason for that question is that we used to just get men into the audience, and men are not allowed to buy anything of value without their wives' permission. So booking in with us, we need the women there to say, yes, you can spend that money. So when we ring out, we say, is there anybody else you'd like to bring, like your partner or a business partner or key member of staff? Because we're loading our deck here because we do a really great job in the seminar, but we want a lot of people saying, yeah, this is great, we should do it, or the guy being able to pay the money because his wife says so, for instance. So the phone call, reaching out and saying, do you want to bring anyone else? I know you only got 2 tickets, but you can bring 3 or 4 other people if you want. We're trying to stack the deck in our favor at that point. Once we've done that, we then have emails going out at -21 days, -14 days, -7 days, and -1 day. And the emails basically are saying, hey, it's only a few weeks now till we work, till you come to the seminar. Here's a video of some of the things you're going to learn, and that happens on the 21 days, -14 days. On the 7 days, we put some really juicy things in. So this is a week out from the seminar saying, hey, this is something we've just done with a client and they made $14,000 with one email. Or this is something we've just done and it packed a restaurant on a rainy Wednesday night. And we don't give them the how, we just show them the what, and we maybe even put a testimonial video in there. -1 day, the email is just a reminder to say this is where you're coming, this is what to bring, this is how to park, and also remember there's traffic on a Monday morning in Sydney, so make sure that you set off very early. And then if we get a chance, we will call people again. So it depends how busy we are. We might even call out again just to confirm people one more time. And then on the day before, which is a Sunday for us, because we always run our events on a Monday, we'll send them an SMS, which is just sent automatically, that says, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, and it gives them the details again. So that's the top line.
Yeah.
Underneath that, we've emailed our list, which I talked about before, and they get emails going out as well saying, are you coming, have you booked in, we're nearly booked out, and so on. And then underneath that, we'll put things on Facebook as well. And then at the bottom in green, it says JV emails, and this is us EV partners saying, hey guys, it's great, some of your clients are booking in, we're looking forward to doing a great job. What do you want to do? Do you want to come along? Can I give you some free tickets? Do you want to bring a banner? Do you want to bring some brochures along? You know, I'm really wanting to still provide even more and give more and more to them. Do you want to put your logo on the welcome PowerPoint slide when people walk through the door? Because you know, I really want to feel like they're getting such a lot out of helping me, and then, you know, 3 weeks after the event, I'll send them a thank you, and then I'll say, we're going to do another one in 3 months. Do you want to do it again? And they'll say yes. So
Which is becoming a fixture, like we.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that when I said earlier, you don't want to work with somebody who's sloppy, because this is very timed. You can see right at the end, you've got 21 days of things that have to go out. If somebody's not even sent you the list and you're getting down to 3 weeks out, it really messes with your whole process, and it means you overburden your staff, because now they're having to do everything really, really quickly, and mistakes get made and people get stressed. And so once you find somebody who it can work in a process like this and supports you to do your job, then you keep them, and those that never get back to you and things, you just drop them, don't go back to them again, it's pointless. So that's our process, that's our IP. Please don't share it beyond black belt, but that's exactly what we do, and by doing that, we will put 1,000 people into seminar rooms, you know, with 5 seminars a year.
That's totally extraordinary, mate. Well done. Thank you so much for sharing. Super generous and really great to see the whole flow chart mapped out. Let's just do a quick pause and check in. You've been watching this. What's been most valuable so far? So I just wanted to take 10 seconds, please. Just grab the question box or the chat box inside GoToWebinar. What's been most helpful so far? What'd you learn? What'd you notice? What would you like to share? Howard, that was amazing. Josh is saying great stuff. Bunch of questions we'll get to in a second. Lots of people saying thank you. Thanks, Deb, and others. Thank you. Steve says no doesn't mean never. Just because one person says no doesn't mean nobody will. Jonathan says thanks. What's been most valuable? Build value first. And a huge theme about this is that you've led with the giving hand. So the call is called Serve and Strategize, and you busted a gut to serve. One of the things I really loved is how the service you did with one JV, would you write some tips for us, has turned into now the system that you do for every JV and the system you use for every prospect who comes on board. It's awesome. Josh says, prepping packages for the JV so they don't have to do it themselves, making it easy. Yeah, you want to push the easy button. We talked about tucking him into bed. It's gold. So well thought through and process-driven to implement, says Chris. Yeah, lead by giving. The generosity of creating content for someone else with no attachment and ownership, and then they come to your landing page with you giving more information. Totally. Finding a way to help JVs before they help you, says Sue. Giving huge value or perceived value. Totally. So let's do this. If it's okay with you, Howard, let's do maybe 5 minutes or so Q&A around this topic. So if you have a question for Howard or myself around this strategy, JV, anything you want to clarify, please type that in now. Pauline saying she really loved the 52 tips and the win-win partnerships with the JV, and you truly are helping them. Thanks, Howard. Giving lots first. Do the work. Make it awesome. Love that, says Gabby. Stephen, also, I like the wording of initial contact. I've got an idea on how I can help you in your business. Wayne says, do the work for the JV and don't take contact info from them until the client opts in. P.S. This is outstanding. Thanks, Howard. Robust system for ensuring value is added and partners and prospects are taken care of every step of the way. You can feel Howard's intention. Super great. Howard, you're doing great stuff. Stack the deck. Okay, so Cameron is saying, do you do one seminar per JV or can multiple JVs promote the same event?
We typically have 4 or 5 promoting the same event. Yeah, so I wouldn't do it with one JV unless we were going to do like a really small, intimate one, and that would be there'd be a different strategy there. This is to fill a big room so we can sell it to a big room. So with this, yeah, we have 4 or 5 JVs all working it.
Love that. That's fantastic. And so when you do that, are they called sponsors, or like how do you? Yeah, what do you do at the event to look after them, make them feel well taken care of? By the way, if you have any other questions, guys, please just type them in.
I call them partners. Personally, they're partnering in something with us, and that's how I describe them to them. Because if I say sponsors, it starts to get to feel like it's about money, and I don't want to put money into the thing. So I call them partners. We're partnering on a thing. And then at the event, I offer them lots of things for free, which I would sell to sponsors. So if, for instance, a bank wants to come on board with us, I would make them pay for all the things the partners get for free. And the things that they get is that they can bring their pull-up banners, can provide information that we give out to all of the people that attend. So everybody that attends gets a booklet, and we'll put all of the material together with the booklet. It gets handed to every single person that comes in. They get the opportunity to have their logo on the thank you screen. So when people sit there and I open the day, the second screen up has all of the partners' logos on, and each business for about a minute or two, and then I say, look, people are here from these businesses in the coffee break. Please make sure you talk to them, because I really value these guys and I love working with them and I trust them. I wouldn't have them here if I didn't trust them. I wouldn't introduce you to them. So I give them a really big wrap. With some of them that I've worked with for a long time, I will actually the slide deck will be a strategy, and I will name the company in with the strategy. So I'll say, so you want to drive business into your restaurant, so one of the things that I really promote is the entertainment book. Now the entertainment book, blah blah blah, works like this, and they are one of the partners. They are in the room, and people get it. Shit, we've been missing out on that. We should have been doing that. Where's that guy? I need to talk to him. So we do a lot of you know,
I love the way you don't give lip service to partnership, but it actually is a legitimate mutual relationship. It's so good. Josh is asking, how do the JVs feel about you getting the client's email and setting up the videos? They're probably, I'm guessing they're super happy with it, but it's only to people who've responded and booked in. Is that right?
Yeah, once they respond and book in, they're no longer just their customer.
They're your prospect as well. That's right.
Yeah, and I think they're absolutely good value from us. We're not sending rubbish to them. They get really good value, and consequently the client, the end user, the client remembers that and goes, oh my goodness, entertainment sent me to this guy and he's giving me so much value, thank you entertainment for doing that, you know.
Totally. Sue's asking, do you ever get into a money relationship which pay them commission in return for any clients you get from their list?
Not with the seminar strategy. In the past, I have done that with my mail order company. I've actually gone to competitors and said, look, you'll have a big list, but you'll only sell to 30%. I've got a big list. I only sell to 30%. Let's do a mail out for your product to my 70%, and let's do it the other way around, and let's just split the profit 50-50. So I've done that in the past, and that works really well, by the way.
That's great. I remember Jay Abraham saying once he worked with a client and he got them to promote their competitor. They ended up making more money on the clients they didn't sell than the ones they did, which was genius. Josh is asking, can you clarify the content being sent in the 3 videos prior to the event? So the 21, 14, and 7-day videos. Sure.
So they've opted in to come to the seminar, and behind the scenes in our system, it drops them into a list where we have pre-prepared 3 emails that go out in a timed fashion. The email will just say, it'll have our banner on, it'll talk about the seminar, and then it'll say, here's something that I think you'd be reading. This is what we're going to be talking about in the at the event, and then there'll be a screenshot. They click on that, it takes them to my website, and then I'll talk about one of the things that most restaurateurs don't know is X, and so what we do is take some time to show you how you can use X in 5 different ways in your business, and every single way will bring you more clients. So that would be one of the videos. Same with the 14 days. When it gets to the 7 days, it's much more juicier than that, and it's here's where somebody made $10,000, here's where somebody filled an empty restaurant, here's where somebody did something that brought in 100,000 in the year. So it's much more like, oh my God, if I don't go, I'm going to miss out on that.
So the 7 days is more like some case studies, and the others are a little bit more about the principles and the techniques.
Yeah. Yes.
Love that. Okay, thank you. Cameron says, are the 4 or 5 partners non-competing to the other partners, or could they be in the same category?
They overlap slightly, but they're not direct competitors. I've only ever had one person be a little concerned about another person that's marketing, but they're not exactly in competition. We're all in the space of serving restaurants, so there's going to be little bits of overlap, but you know, I never put 2 absolutely competing
email marketing providers for restaurants are never going to be in the same room together.
No.
Yeah, and at the end of this, at the moment, most of the seminars are offering done-for-you marketing for these guys. What's the sort of price point for this service, the one that you sell?
We have different levels, but it starts at $200 a week for us to basically take over all of their direct marketing for them by email and by hard mail as well.
Yep, that's perfect. So 200. By the way, I really like the weekly billing. It's nice. It means they never get a credit card statement with one big large amount, which is kind of nice.
And cash flow in restaurants is terrible. So we used to do it by the month, and we'd have to chase them for their credit cards because they keep defaulting. So this handled a problem for us as well.
That's great. Mate, this is awesome. There's one final question from Penny saying, if you had to start this from scratch, how did you start with restaurants? How would you establish your credibility? What was your first project before creating all this good stuff? In other words, if you were I'm brand new in a market and I want to set up this strategy, let's just give people kind of 3 actions to get going.
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. And let me think. If I was to start again, I would find an industry leader in the industry that I'm in. So let's say care, because I know Tristan, he might be on this call. So I would find somebody like Tristan. I'd find out what he does, and I'd look for a gap in what he does that my services fill. Then I would chase him down so I could talk to him, and I'd say, hey Tristan, there's this thing that I do really, really well. Would you be interested in promoting it to your list? And I'll just do it you know, to add value to what you do, and then maybe down the line we can do something together. So I come completely from giving, but I'd want to align myself with somebody who's already king of the heap. I would not bother at the bottom of the pyramid. I'd jump straight to the top, and I'd go for the top people in the industry and see what I can do for them. And again, don't be frightened of getting told no, because you know, just move on to the next one. There's plenty of people you can JV with, but that's what I do, because they're going to have the best list, they're going to have the best engagement. So if I was in the coaching space, I'd be chasing tacky. I'd be looking for things I could do like this right now, what I'm doing right now, in order to give value to Tacky, so that later I can ask him if he would reciprocate.
Love that. So find the industry leader, find a gap in what they do, and offer to help with it with no obligation, and as a way, Correct. What does that do? Well, it builds trust with the guy. It also builds positioning with everybody else who says, hey, this guy knows, you know, the Michael Jordan of the industry, and we're good. Mate, this has been great. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you a lot. I know that you've got an appointment to get to, so I'm going to say thanks so much. This has been awesome. And guys, if you could join me in thanking Howard with a quick thanks into the chat box, that'd be awesome.
Great. Oh, you're very welcome. I love doing this. So yeah, if there's some questions that come through afterwards, Tacky, as well, I'm happy to answer things
just message them on the
Facebook. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much, mate. You're a legend. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, so that's Howard. Super juicy, really, really valuable. And I think what you'll see, if you look at this process, it follows the 14-day alliance really, really nicely. And this shows specifically how he does the follow. I mean, this graphic in front of us is how he does the follow-through part. So